The Call Guys have traveled back to the 80s and 90s to discuss their favorite movies from those decades. Now it is time for them to hop back into the DeLorean again to talk about the movies that truly shaped them. The 2000's. If it was not for the great films of the 2000's, they would not be where they are today, talking about, comprehending, and researching their favorite films. No, I am not the real Morgan Freeman, but I do want to thank you for your continued support of the Call Guys podcast.
I will die on that hill.
I absolutely love Miley Cyrus.
You have failed this.
Love this show.
The sickest night ever. Is this? What are we doing?
No. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Call Guys podcast. I'm Gunner, also known as Chico Noise, three-time podcast host, OG YouTuber, and Colton. Yes, I did buy Pokemon Scarlet when it released last night, when we recorded this, and obviously released last night, but I did buy it, and I have played it.
Let's go.
And my question to you is, have you bought it yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh my
gosh. I had to take care of the kid tonight. It was bath night, so I had to do that, but I'll probably get it tonight.
Colton's gonna be up till 2 a.m. playing Pokemon. That's right.
And
everybody, I have some weird news. Kind of last minute here. We got ourselves a special guest host on the Call Guys podcast because this special guest host sent us an email that was like reading a 50-page novel about, or 500-page novel about his favorite movies of the 2000s. So we said, why not have him come on? So I had Colton give him a call and all for it. So guess who's back? Back again. Katie's back. It's Snake Plissken.
Is back. Tell your friends.
Hey. Listen, just everyone out there that's listening right now, persistence pays off. So if you're looking to secure a spot here on the Call Guys podcast, the seats are limited, but definitely keep at it, keep emailing. Just stick with it. It's wonderful. Thank you guys for having me back. Really love where you guys have been going so far and the different topics. And I just wanted to be able to share my perspective a little bit. And yes, I wrote quite a bit, but I think that's just you, Gunner, because you don't like to read. So anything over about a paragraph, you were just like, let's just have him on because I don't want to read all this.
Well, Colton did tell me that you told him to delete the email so he wouldn't read it.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go delete it so he doesn't see what your list was, which to me is a great list. So everybody, stick it out through this episode because we got some good movies coming at you.
Here's what he did. He says this. He's like, yeah, I'll come on, but you're gonna know my list. And I was like, well, I haven't read the list yet. He's like, well, do you know Gunner's list before you start? I said no, and he's like, have Gunner delete it. I want it to be a surprise to you. So I can only imagine what these 5 movies are gonna be for him.
Well, they're great. I'm just gonna tell you that now. They're great. So, yes. So I did mention in that intro, Snake, welcome back, by the way. I'm glad to have you back. I'm loved listening to Beer 30. It was fun to listen back to. I think that 3 hours and 14 minutes I listened to probably 6 times. So blow out my eardrums. But in that intro, I did mention that I am an OG YouTuber. So if anybody out there wants to go back and watch some terrible old videos and puke,
they're fantastic.
And laugh,
they're fantastic,
and cry laughing because it's so bad, go check out Flapjack 630 on YouTube.
Yes.
The Shriek Saga is great. I put a lot of hard work into that. So, yeah. And then Pokemon. I mean, yeah, Colton didn't buy it, but I bought it. It's fun. So go out. If you love Pokemon, go buy the game.
I'll get it.
It's on the Switch. If you played the one previous to this, I cannot think of what the name of it was right now.
Arceus.
It's very similar in the game style. There's some different things that aren't the same though. So yeah, go check it out. It's super fun. So
sweet.
But yeah. How was your week, guys?
Man, it's just busy week. My coworker, he had kidney stone problems, so he had to get those taken care of on Thursday. So just been burning the candles at both ends, trying to get the house done up and all that fun stuff. And
yeah, listeners, if you're watching on YouTube, Colton's background has changed
dramatically.
It's kind of disappointing to look at. Bar stools are still there, so that's good.
Yeah, they're there. So
Frank's
yeah.
gone.
Yeah, Frank is gone. Everything is.
That's all right. He's making moves, trying to clean things up, make it look nice. So.
Oh yeah. So yeah, man. I just trying to survive this week and the weekend. So
Nice. Nice.
What about you, Snake?
Oh, just heading into Thanksgiving. Working for a school, your calendar kind of runs a little bit. I don't have those breaks off. I work just like you guys, even though Colton wants to kind of bust me a little bit on every now and then on that. Oh, you got that teacher calendar. You got them teacher calendars.
Do you go to school? Do you go to school when there's too much snow on the ground? Yes or no?
I do now.
Okay.
I do now.
Wait.
I
If
do
I would have
now.
asked, if I would have asked you this 2 weeks ago, what would the answer been?
The answer had been no.
That's what I thought.
No,
Shut up.
No,
Don't
no.
talk to me that way.
It was the beginning of October when I got the different positions. So
October. That's how you're gonna go with October. Okay.
Yes. So yes, Colton. I will
2 months. You're literally like a month is what you're going on.
For those of you who remember, back to Beer 30, Cody. Listen, I do have to go in. I do.
Talk to me that way. You've had a month
will.
of having to go in it no matter what. So
Well,
shut up.
listen, I'm feeling your pain a little bit. All right, we had some drifting today. It's starting to get a little colder.
Good.
Colton's
Good. That's actually
busy.
good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, I'm telling you
absolutely.
right now that drifting, I pull out on the 23 runs right by my house. So I pull out on 23, and it was like 3 inches of snow on the road, and then there were patches of nothing. So it's melted off. It's just blown all over that road.
All over.
Yeah.
All over. And probably the most exciting thing beyond new position, beyond that thing is just I noticed Colton's wearing his Chicago Bears hat. For those of you listening can't see, he's got that Bears on, and I decided tonight I was gonna rep the shoe because Jeff Saturday's 1-0 interim coach of the year. Get out of here with that, Chiefs. I'm pretty sure if I look back on that score I'm pretty sure the Chiefs took that big fat L to the shoe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
The man who's got a tie on his record this year is talking that talk right now.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And able to do so. Looking to put it on the Eagles this week as Saturday has his big homecoming.
What are the Eagles?
guys are gonna get
9-1, 8-1,
8-1. They just lost, so they're pissed off and ready to
ready to lose again.
they're angry because they dropped a game.
They dropped
against the
Commanders. They did. Okay, the Colts were able to squeak one out against the Raiders on the road. But I think no, I've enjoyed. I haven't been a huge Colts fan. I kind of followed them here and there, but hearing just a former player like Jeff Saturday talk, he's like a breath of fresh air when it comes to coaches because they're so they say the same thing over and over, and he just lays it out there pretty simply. He kind of reminds me of that. Was it McDaniels from was the Miami Dolphins coach? I've seen clips of him. Oh, he's funny. He's a funny guy. He's the one time they were playing the Bears and Justin Fields come over and he yelled,
I know
"Stop it!" Yeah, remember that
story?
story?
He told me, "Stop running, stop it."
Yeah, stop scrambling. And then he told me, he was like, "Well, he didn't listen to me, so I figured, nobody's really tried that tactic, so I just thought I'd just ask him to stop and see if it would work."
Give it a try. Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen?
It's right. Just some of that stuff is always nice to see them to not be so robotic as coaches. Kind of a deal. But no, I've enjoyed the week and enjoyed having a phone call with Colton and excited to have his life be adjusted a little bit potentially and moving him a little bit closer to my location, maybe then be able to see him a little bit more. Colton, there are houses available in my subdivision.
You just said the one word I don't want.
What subdivision?
Yeah.
Listen,
cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac. Listen, what you can do, Colton, is just buy the rest of the land around the corner.
Yeah,
you'll be fine.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about it.
That would solve all the problems.
Super cheap too. Super cheap.
I'm gonna subliminally say cul-de-sac through this entire episode. Cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac. All right, how about you, Gunnar?
Yeah. Oh man, it's been a great week. So funny story. Colton is really good friends with, and I'm sure Jake probably is too. Wow.
You did it
Sorry.
again.
Sorry.
That's awesome. That's
Sorry.
great. Keep it going. Keep it going.
So I'm sure you guys both are great friends with Brent Ross, who also works at Digger, and Colton a picture of the project I worked on for about a month. So it was really cool to see it. Obviously, he didn't email it to me. We work at the same company. He could have just emailed it to me, but he sent it to Colton instead. Colton then forwarded the picture to me. And yeah, so it was cool to see that. So that made it a little bit better. Started a new project. The snow's kind of killing me. I love snow. I love winter, but when it's that early morning, 5:00 drive to work and it's like snow on the ground, it's kind of nerve-wracking sometimes, especially during hunting season. I mean, you get deer running out everywhere. So I don't know. It's been good. Work on the house is consistent. Painted 2 more walls yesterday. So yeah, good stuff. Long week. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you Jordan.
Okay.
I'm sure it happens all the time.
I saw nothing. I didn't hear anything wrong with what you said.
Listeners,
you're
sorry.
all good.
2 for 2.
Did I do it in Beer 30?
Yes.
No.
It was later in the evening, so you have an excuse.
Yeah, that's a good one. If I show you my beer mid over here, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no, good week. I'm just happy to be here doing the pod. As always. As always. So, I do have a question of the pod.
Of course we do, because that's what we do. That's
every
what
every episode. We always have a question
here at the Call Guys.
That's right. And it's very random. I told you guys before, it's kind of very random. And I don't know why I thought of this. Somebody had asked me maybe, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is what it is. So, question of the podcast. What is your favorite flavor of ice cream? Colton, you're not a sweets guy. I know. But when you were at my house, I saw you take down a bowl of ice cream.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I haven't even thought about ice cream since I was at your house.
That's okay. But what's your go-to if you had to just pick ice cream?
What did I have at your house?
Oh, vanilla.
I think it
probably.
was chocolate.
Was it chocolate?
Oh no, I am.
I don't remember. You put a bunch of crap on top of it, though.
I did put a bunch of crap. I think I put vanilla because as a kid we would take vanilla ice cream and we would take chocolate syrup and we'd make like our own swirl ice cream, but we would like stir it so much it would turn into like a cold soup. And
okay.
Yeah, I just don't like. I'm not a big fan. So
see, if I do vanilla ice cream, I'd always do like a float, like Coke or root beer. That's good. That's not my favorite kind.
That's a great. The first time my wife and I hung out before we were pretty much dating, I was trying to be nice and I made root beer floats and I hand her one and she looks at me and says, "I don't like root beer." I was like, "Well, there we go." Last time I tried.
Good one. That's when you just put Coke. She likes Coke, right? So you do Coke. Coke floats are just as good as root beer floats.
No, they're not.
They are.
You're wrong.
I don't know about that.
Wait, which one? Who are you siding with, Jake?
Root beer floats, like classic root beer.
It is
floats.
classic, but Coke, man, that's good.
What do you pour? Buy the root beer.
Root beers. I can get root beer for 99 cents.
That's what I'm saying. There's no excuse.
Gosh, what do you got? What do you got, Snake? What's your favorite kind of ice cream?
Go-to is definitely cookie dough. So cookie dough ice cream, hands down, the best. Also passed that favorite right along to my daughter. Says she will get that every single time. So we have a Culver's that's right by our house. So anytime they get the kids' meal, they get that free scoop, and we collect those, and then we'll go for free scoops of ice cream, free, even though you already paid for it, and we'll get that cookie dough. And Aurora will get that every single time.
Nice. What are Culver's? They have concrete mixers. Is that what they're?
Concrete mixers, I believe.
Yeah, those are good.
You get two toppings or two mix-ins, not just one.
Nice, I like it. That's good. Well, mine. I've always loved mint chocolate chip. Always been my go-to. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just a combination or what, but I love mint chocolate chip. Anything, blizzards, concrete mixers, just if I can get my hands on it, I'm going mint chocolate chip.
Solid.
Yeah, tasty stuff. Yeah. So the question of the pod.
Solid question.
Random, easy. It wasn't a Snake Plissken question. But
Ooh, no.
but
No, I think you still have some preloaded. I think I sent
Oh,
you
I do.
like 2 dozen on the first go round.
Oh yeah, there are a bunch in there. We'll get back to them. They'll come back around. It's like a treat.
Yeah.
It's always like a would you rather. Would you rather lose a foot or eat bacon every day?
Circling back to that Rebecca Black question, I'm a little disappointed that some of you guys chose Rebecca Black. I don't know that you can fathom the fact that you have to listen to it every Friday for 12 hours or whatever. Like, I don't know if you remember that song enough. Like, just play it 3 times.
Love the song.
You love it for 3 times, not 12 hours.
I love it for 12 hours. I'm going to be kicking in my front seat or kicking in my back seat. I can't make my mind up. I don't know which seat to take.
My left-handed pinky is going to look like something totally crooked because I'm breaking that finger every year.
Well, wasn't it a random finger at a random time?
I thought it was random finger at random time.
As the one who crafted the question, I don't remember at all. It was months ago.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But I'm going to go ahead and amend it on the fly and say you can pick which finger it is.
And when it happens.
And when it happens. Yourself. It can be January 1. Happy New Year's. Give me a hammer. I'm smashing this finger, and I'm listening to Rebecca Black.
First Friday, the first Friday Rebecca Black starts. Finger crack.
Hey honey, give me a hammer and a kiss. Because it's New Year's.
Anyway.
Gunnar, what are you playing with over there?
Oh. What am I playing? I'm trying to keep them on here, but I keep laughing and blowing them off. I do actually. This is actually the next thing after the question of the pod. I want to thank everybody that entered into the Wally Bucks giveaway. Everybody that's here listening to this, please stick around to the end because we are going to draw the winner tonight. And as the Emperor said, he is in there one time. If he gets drawn, we will add an extra $25 gift card on top of the 50 right here on my microphone. If you're watching YouTube, they've been here the whole time, except when I blow them off. So yeah, if he gets drawn first, an extra $25 gift card on the drawing. The wheel looks full because a lot of people had 5 entries or 10 entries, 20. I think Chris had 20 entries in there. So, I mean, I want to thank you all just for entering. I think Snake Plissken's in there one time too. So that's right. And that is actually why he's here tonight, because he sent us an email with his list. So he is here.
Yep.
Snake is absolutely right. Persistence is key. I feel like the next person, Gunnar, we need to have on is
Fat Billy Ray.
Is Arian. I think Arian.
Oh yeah. Oh
Arian
yeah. I think so.
Next, so
She is on top of it.
Faithful, loyal to the pod. So
and I actually, Arian, you're listening, and this is what is today? The 18th.
18th.
So Arian and her husband were supposed to come over to the house tomorrow because her husband is a big Chiefs fan. We were supposed to watch the game. They flexed the game to 8:30. And I was like, well, you guys don't want to bring the kids over till midnight. Like obviously that is rough. So I was like, well, let's just push it out a couple weeks. And she was super upset. And I'm Arian. I just want to apologize. I'm sorry. And we will make it up here in a couple weeks. We'll watch a game. Trevor was going to make chili and I was going to make something.
That sounds about right.
What goes with chili other than peanut butter sandwiches, right?
Grilled cheese.
Grilled cheese. That's good. Colton, what do you do with your chili? Question of the pod number 2.
Oh, gosh. Not prepared.
What is your side? Cornbread, Fritos.
Oh,
cheese?
Cornbread. I do cornbread.
We do like Fritos or Sarah turned me on to peanut butter sandwiches.
Yeah.
And it's delicious with the chili. So a lot of people put peanut butter in their chili.
That's disgusting.
I don't know why.
Is that you, Gunnar?
No, I don't. I actually don't. But a lot of people do, and I don't know why. But apparently, it makes it better.
How many people have you surveyed to make it?
I'm about send us. Hey, everybody out there listening to the podcast, if you put peanut butter in your chili, or you ever have put peanut butter in your chili, send us an email. Callguyspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know.
And likewise, if you've never done that and haven't done that, also send an email so we know exactly how many are in or out.
And say, why would you ever do that?
Yep. And maybe tell us what your preferred side is for chili.
This is why he is our head of marketing. Yes, but yeah. So Wally Bucks giveaway, end of this episode. Stick around to the end. We will choose a winner. I will screen share that on here. There's a wheel. It'll go wheel, pick a person. So yeah, check it out. And then Colton and I are, after we record this episode here in a couple days, are going to go see Black Panther. So I just want everybody out there that's listening to let us know what you have went to see or what you've watched over the last few weeks. Christmas is coming up. What's your favorite Christmas movie that you watch? Just tell us what you've been watching. What's up? What's good out there? What should we be watching? What should we be talking about? So yeah, send us an email. Let us know. Send us a Facebook message. That's something we never really mentioned either. We're easy to get a hold of on Facebook too. So go to the Call Guys Podcast on Facebook or send us an email, callguyspodcast@gmail.com. And we will either answer your email or talk about it on the next pod. Yeah.
Sounds good. Well done, brother.
Yeah. So Colton.
Yeah, man.
We got some emails.
Yes, we do. We got some 90s list. We have a new emailer, so that's exciting to read. So we're gonna start with the real question is do we go with the real name or do we go with the fantastic nickname that he has been dubbed?
I think the nickname, yeah.
Nickname.
Okay. It makes me laugh every time I try to say it. We have Fat Billy Ray Cyrus.
The horses are in the back and the Kentucky waterfall's flowing, baby.
I'm gonna cry.
You weren't there during the episode of the Golden Image podcast where we did 18 to Life, and he was sitting right on a couch next to us, and we were all just poking fun at him the whole time. And he loves it. That's the thing. And he's been listening. He's been listening to the Call Guys like crazy, but he loves it. He's such a good sport about it. So Colton's never even met him.
I think I've met him once.
Have you met? Oh, probably at the wedding.
Well, I don't think I met him. I saw him because he was helping your dad, I think.
Yeah, he was wearing his Buddha outfit.
Yeah, he was. And
Jake's face.
Oh my gosh. I've never talked to Andy. I'd love to sit down and talk with him.
Oh, fun, super fun guy.
He's probably got some great golden stories. So
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So, Fat Billy Ray has sent us his top 5 movies of the 90s. His number 1 is Tombstone.
Okay.
Great movie, fantastic. One of my favorite lines. That's, I think, would go down in my top 5 favorite lines in a movie. I'll be your Huckleberry. Number 2 is Pulp Fiction. Great.
Nice.
And another good one. Then 3 is The Crow.
Of course. Can't pass up The Crow.
Boys in the Hood is number 4. Solid movie choice. I like it. And then number 5 is Schindler's List.
That is a good movie.
That's a great movie. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Fat Billy Ray.
I can't say.
Jake even goes.
I'll save you. I'll save you. Come on.
My gosh.
I can't. This is too funny. Oh man. Oh, then we have a
Thanks, Andrew.
Yes, thank you, Andrew. We have a new email from a new listener. We're going to go by the name of Cam. So thank you, Cam, so much for reaching out to us at thecallguyspodcast@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of gave us his top 3 movies. And he kind of titles it top movies everyone hates, but I love. And his number 1 movie is Jurassic Park 3. And I don't know.
I love the pterodactyls in that movie. I think that is a great addition, and it's shot so well. And they go into that, and you get the fog with they're on that bridge, and the bridge is broken. They're walking across, and the pterodactyls are breaking through the fence and getting in. That's actually a really cool scene, but probably the most memorable scene from the movie to me, on top of the parasailing and losing the boat. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And he said he loves that movie for one reason only: a T-Rex finally gets beat. Okay,
I know that.
Yeah.
Now they get beat in every movie.
Yeah, it's true. Number 2 is the Leprechaun series as a whole.
Oh.
He said he just loves that little dude. So, and then number 3 is Little Nicky, a top 3 Adam Sandler film.
Cassius getting a blast.
Yes, an underrated Adam Sandler movie.
Very, very much so.
Oh my god!
Very much so.
So,
what time is it? I gotta go see Hitler.
Got another pineapple.
So Cam, thank you so much for your top 3, man. That nobody likes. So
hey, I love Little Nicky.
thank you so much for reaching out to us, and hope to hear more from you soon. So don't be a stranger, man.
Yeah.
And then our last but not least, we have another one from a CT 1209. It is titled "Colton Needs to Take the Red Pill."
Ooh.
I think he was a little angry with you.
Oh, you think? Did you read this whole thing?
I did. Yeah.
Dude, we're gonna save this couple paragraphs for the Andor episode, and that might just be our beginning part.
Yes.
Chris and I, it sounds like we need to hash some things out. But I will say this, is that Chris comes from I feel like I could say this, confidently. Chris comes from an actual like comic book lore. Like that's where he has his start with a lot of this stuff. He's a big comic book guy. I myself
have a whole box of them in my car. A whole box of his comics in my car.
Yeah. And I'm just not that. I didn't get started with the comics. I've never really got into all the comics. I've just picked up some random comics, and that's kind of it. So, I mean, most of my go around with DC and Marvel is off of, just strictly the movies, not necessarily TV shows. And I think Chris has a problem with that. So I will say this. I will say that, Chris, thank you as always for another email. I love reading them. They're great. Just what you know is that we're gonna have a good conversation about this, and I'm excited to have it. And if the Skywalker needs to come on for that first part, then so be it. But let me tell you, yeah, it's gonna be an interesting time. So everybody, watch Andor and get ready for that episode that's coming up here shortly, and we'll go from there. But Chris, thank you for the email. I'm gonna keep it out there. I'm actually started on the email list, so I will have this to come back to when you are back on the show. So I'm excited. So thank you for the email. And like I said, I don't want to give too much of it away, but that's kind of the
gist,
kind of
the overall gist, yeah. And so, I do want to. Colton always says I'm pretty non-confrontational, and I just want to let everybody know out there, I love everybody's opinions about anything. So if you want to tell us, you want to tell Colton off, please send us an email and do it. I mean, that's what we're here for. I mean, maybe not just telling him off, but just voicing your opinion about movies, TV shows, music, sports, whatever you want to talk about. Send it to us. Let us.
I mean, I think that's kind of the beauty. I think that's kind of the beauty of like music and movies, is that they all mean something different to somebody.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the beauty of it. And I enjoy that. And I probably am, I get stuck in my ways, and I get stuck of how I like things. And, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It just kind of depends what I'm trying to do, but I'm trying to get out of it. So yeah, no, I definitely love, I mean, Chris, I love, like, you've got some really good stuff here, and I can't wait to dissect this email. So I'm excited. So, and That is it. And he did start it with Chico and Vanilla. So
Yes, of course.
Vanilla Fonda.
So
Also, we need to get his reads.
we do. I know. I have them. I need to get them done and put in, and I promise you they will be here soon. I have some time coming up. There's gonna be a lot of edits. There's gonna be a lot of Facebook posts. There's gonna be a lot of social media stuff going on. So be ready for that with the Call Guys. And I know Snake's been freaking hitting me with the belt, telling me, "Hey, sit down, start doing Facebook posts." The marketing guy is on top of me, trying to get me to do all this stuff. So,
I mean, just trying to get this ship off the ground, a little bit.
I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
I mean, I just hear from Colton about comparing it to the other, the other elements of the Golden Universe and
Empire.
Empire. Sorry, the Empire.
If you're going to be a part of this ship, you better tighten up and respect the Emperor.
Listen, I was invited. Okay, I'm not trying to.
You have been voluntold.
I'm not trying to commandeer a vessel and jump to light speed. I'm just here to have fun with friends. And with you drinking Guinness out of a can, which is just all sorts of wrong.
It's a beer 30 all over again.
My cups are gone.
Before we get in,
my glasses are packed.
Before we get to the final part of this 3-part trilogy of episodes that we've been doing, the 80s, the 90s, and tonight the 2000s, I would like for Jake to give us his 90s list, if that's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what spurred the invitation, kind of a deal on tonight. And I appreciate that. Always appreciate that opportunity to come on, talk with you guys. Really enjoyed the last time I was on, and really enjoying myself now and look forward to our continued conversations. So I threw that out there on my 90s list. Okay. So I'll do it in traditional fashion. I'm wearing solo, so I don't have to go around the horn here. But number 5 in the 90s movie is Galaxy Quest. And I put in parentheses, haters gonna hate, but it's one of the best satire movies of the decade. If you haven't seen it, think Tropic Thunder, but for kids. So the way that Tropic Thunder is that satire movie of like, they're making a movie about a movie, like it's they're making fun of themselves throughout it a little bit, but it's extremely inappropriate for children. Galaxy Quest is funny, it's witty, it's about these, like, it's about the Trekkies, right? So it's like a spoof on Star Trek, but having Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, I can't think of his name.
Alan Rickman,
yes, thank you. I was like, couldn't think of it.
Harry
Snape. Yeah, Severus Snape. Like it's great, and like the guys are, you are our last hope.
You are our last hope. Oh my gosh,
it is just a really, really good movie that I just really enjoyed, and I had it in my honorables, and I'm like, it's got to go in my top.
That's a great movie.
So yeah, I the 5 was Galaxy Quest. 4 was one that had already been brought up on the pod before, but absolutely one of my favorites, and that is another star-studded film, Mystery Men, the classic stories of the wannabes, right? It's a story of the people the kids that don't get picked, the guys that don't get picked, a story of that classic villain. And you have Captain Amazing, who's this superhero who has sponsorships all over him, right? He's got the Pepsi, but the Pepsi dropped him, so it's like a Chinese version or a Japanese version on it, and it's totally off brand. And like it's just so funny, just so funny and just well done. Costumes are amazing, the lines are amazing. So Mystery Men was my number 4, and then number 3 is The Fifth Element. So a movie that watch over and over, quote a lot. It's definitely one of Bruce Willis's maybe not lesser known movies, because I don't know that it did that well. It should have actually won some awards for the costumes.
I thought it did.
It did not. It got snubbed on like Academies or Oscars for I actually looked that up while we were talking earlier. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm right, but I'm going to look that up. But it didn't win any major awards. for that, and I think it should have. The costumes and the futuristic looks just were a little bit ahead of its time. So really enjoyed the fifth element, and we quote it all the time as a family. We just do. So that was number 3. Number 2 was the Matrix. I've never I've never watched a movie and had to think so hard after a movie, before or since. Like even with some of the big, mind-bending movies, thinking like recently, like Tenet. Tenet was one of those where you're like, I really have to think about what I just saw and maybe watch it again. I know we've mentioned Fight Club, which is in my honorable mentions. Like you got to watch it twice to really understand and appreciate it. But The Matrix it made you just really consider your own place and whether or not reality was here. And I know you guys talked about it, the simulation, but it truly did. And it's just such a great movie. The sequels, I mean, go with what you want to go with. Not great. Fourth one redeemed a little bit, but definitely the original, The Matrix, first one.
Oh yeah,
just kind of its own. Honorable mentions. Stick with me on the list because I've got a little bit.
Lord.
All right, Colton. Space Jam, Happy Gilmore.
Okay.
Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Okay.
He's an honorable mention. Tommy Boy.
Oh,
Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
nice.
of course. Good.
Demolition Man.
Oh gosh.
Wayne's World. I mean, I start my email with you guys every time with
Party on guard.
Although you spelled it wrong and you put part on.
I did. I spelled it wrong this time.
I didn't see that.
Speed, a young Sandra Bullock,
Speed?
Keanu
Nice.
Reeves.
Good. Yes.
Yes.
Oh
It's
wow.
it's an honorable mention. Speed 2, absolutely not. Speed 1, yes.
Speed 2 sucks.
Face Off, you guys talked about that one.
Oh, yep.
Independence Day.
Oh,
Honorable mention.
man.
Yep.
One.
Yes.
You guys missed on Independence
We
Day.
did.
Dumb and Dumber. Toy Story.
Yes.
Saving Private Ryan. You guys talked about Fight Club. We talked about Lion King and Shawshank Redemption. Had to throw some Disney ones in there. Obviously, we're a huge Disney family. Kind of mentioned that last one. It's just really big. So
I think Gunnar talked about how we're kind of, we didn't put any in because we're also gonna do a Disney episode. But I mean, I think it kind of goes without saying that our childhood, because I mean, you're just a year older than me, man, and I mean, it is heavy Disney animated movie. So
yes, it is. Yes, and movies that actually, when you watch them on Disney Plus, have been changed. And they've edited parts of the movies. For example, I just watched a Goofy movie with my daughter for the first time. We were watching that, and there's a scene where Goofy's pants fall down, and you see his boxers and their hearts. That scene no longer exists on Disney Plus. They edited that one out, and it cuts away. So it's just little changes that Disney's made.
Oh man,
our society has changed.
An extremely goofy movie. What a great movie.
Probably one of the few like 90s sequels that actually holds up.
Yeah. I'd agree. I'd agree. Maybe Jafar's Revenge, maybe a little bit.
False.
Okay, no. Which
that's
kind of
podcast? That's an episode idea, Gunnar.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that one.
What sequels?
We have sequels that
suck.
Yeah.
Who gave you that idea, Cole?
I don't know. I don't know.
Might have been
Literally-
one Snake Plissken.
Check the emails. That was one of my ideas.
It's probably been redacted.
It should be. And then that walks into my number 1. I know you guys talked about it. Or we've made mention to it. It did win a Grammy for Song of the Year in 1992, I believe. It is a Disney movie. Nope. It is a Disney movie. My number 1.
Mighty Ducks.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, that's a
Grammy
musical.
for Song of the Year.
92?
I think it's 92, maybe 94. That's fine. It's
Newsies.
Aladdin. Nope.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
It's Aladdin.
I can see that.
Whole New World is Grammy Song of the Year. We've talked about Robin Williams before playing the genie. But just one that is my absolute favorite movie of my childhood and still my favorite movie from the 90s. So that's my number 1.
I like it.
That's my list. Galaxy
Solid.
Quest. Come at me, Colton.
I do. I love Galaxy Quest. I remember I went and saw it in South Bend at the Dollar Theater with my uncle, and It was awesome. I loved it. I loved going to see that movie. Every time that is a guilty pleasure movie of mine that I probably don't even realize, but like if it's on, it's like, okay, I gotta watch this.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, we have traveled back to the 80s. We went back to the 90s. We've reminisced with our families and our friends, talking about movies that we grew up with, movies that we've watched hundreds of times because they are our favorite movies. And now it is time to cover the movies that really shaped us. I mean, if you think about the ages that we were when the movies of the 2000s came out, those are the movies we were watching when we could really comprehend what movies meant and what was going on. So I think this is going to be some of our best lists because these are the movies that we understood. You know, in the 90s movies, we were young. We were watching these movies. The 80s movies we grew up with because our parents watched them. They showed us these movies. These 2000s movies are the movies that we watched, we understood, and we loved because they were not necessarily our movies, but the movies that we fell in love with. So are you guys ready to do a top 5 list of our favorite 2000s movies?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, so like I said, that's me speaking for us. The older generations obviously have the same concept, but with movies from older generations, I'm sure. So, but if you're listening and you want to send us your lists for the 2000s, we will read those off on the next episode. So we will keep on moving with this as we go through the next 1,000 episodes of the Call Guys, I'm sure. So, all right, who wants to go first? Do we let the guest go first? Do we let Snake go first?
I don't know, man. I was gonna say, yeah, I didn't know how you wanted to do this. I think you went last time. So do we want to do you, Snake, me, or do we want to do Snake, you, me? I'll go last. I mean, it don't matter.
I'll go first. So let's go me, Snake, Colton.
Okay.
Vanilla
What's
Thunder.
so funny? What is so funny?
If only we had a pre-production or a pre-production meeting.
hey.
We should have done a pre-production meeting
Hey.
and thought of this way beforehand.
Well,
but that's
I will
okay.
say I'm a late addition, so that does throw you guys off. I will say that.
No, not at all. You helped it, to be honest. What does Colton always say? Our best episodes are when we have a guest on. The
So
episode,
true.
I'm going to say this right now. The 90s episode was awesome.
Yep.
My brother did so well.
Yes.
I mean, it was just super fun to listen back to. And
looking back on it,
props Skywalker.
we should have had somebody on the 80s.
Yeah.
We should have, yeah, at this point. I did the cool intro, and then I didn't do the cool intro for the 90s, so
I wasn't going to say anything about it, but since you brought it up, yeah, what
I
was
was-
up with the intros?
Oh, so I have these immaculate scripts written out for these intros, and then Colton and I think for the 90s episode,
90s, you had a really good one.
yeah, we ended up having to like push it out a little bit later, so we just kind of ran with it. And then with
Okay.
this one, it's a day late, so we're recording a day late. So I sent him a script for this one at like what, midnight?
Yeah, I think it was like 11:30, and I remember looking at my phone and I saw your name and I was like, "What are you doing away?" Because I was dead tired.
I sent him the script and then sent him a message that said, "Why does my brain do this to me?"
Yep. yes, you did.
So yeah. All right. Well, I will go first, and
Lead
maybe
us off.
the beginning of this episode will be a really cool intro. Who knows what I do
Ooh.
over my Sunday? So,
Yes.
my number 5 is a movie from 2004. It is one of my movies that if it is on TV or I just feel like watching it, I will put it on every time. It stars Nicolas Cage, and it is National Treasure.
Ooh, solid.
I love this movie because of the history. Whether the history obviously is true, it's obviously fiction. But everything with his family and going back and treasure hunting in general is just a really cool concept to me. And seeing it in a movie and shot really well, and kind of that puzzle game that they have to play to get from A to B to C to finding the treasure. And then that's a sequel I can't knock either, because it's a really good sequel to a movie. Action sequences, the pipe at the beginning of the movie coming back at the end of the movie to help get them into the final treasure room. I mean, it's just things like that. This movie is really well thought out. The script's really good. Nick Cage does an awesome job. I cannot think of what his the actor's name is.
Riley.
Yeah, Riley was his name, but what is the actor's name? I can't think of it, but he does a really good job too.
Google
And
it.
he's kind of that comedic, that little bit of
Relief,
humor.
yeah.
So I don't know. I've
Absolutely.
always loved National Treasure. Like I said, movie you can watch over and over again. You steal the Declaration of Independence. I mean, and the way they did it is just awesome.
Questionable. Like what that?
Yeah. Would that actually
Did
work?
really
No.
happen? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, no, it's definitely spurred a lot more people maybe to be interested in our own nation's history too. That was I did appreciate that. Being a social studies teacher, previous social studies teacher, that's definitely a movie that I've enjoyed. Sequel does hold up. One thing that I'll bring your attention to, maybe, and I don't mean to be the negative guy on the call, but
No, do it.
let's. So the sequel, they have that lost city of gold that was supposed to be like the fountain of youth and explored, and then supposedly was found in Florida, and then somehow was walked and carried up to the Dakotas to then reside under Mount Rushmore. The geography just never connected with me on that. I was like, wait, so they walked all that gold across the continent and nobody knew about it or stole it along the way, or
I mean, horse-drawn carriage, or something with wheels.
I just was like, oh, okay, we're just gonna go with it. It's been solid up to that point. I think that's the only thing I really had an issue with, but it definitely is a good one.
And the things with that are the ways they find they solve things, right? Like they pour the water on the rock and it shows the eagle. Obviously that's kind of far-fetched, but it's still interesting. I guess. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Great. Okay, so some of them I have more background than others, and I think that's what spurred me to come on. So again, Colton didn't have to read it, or Gunnar didn't have to read it. And some of them I'll mask, kind of like you guys like to do, and some I'll just come out and say. So number 5 is a bit of a mask. Somebody number 5 stars Tommy Lee Jones, Josh Brolin, Woody Harrelson, and perhaps one of the best portrayed villains of all time, Javier Bardem. This 2007 film had a mild box office showing. It only grossed $74.3 million, but it delivers big in making what seems simple suspenseful. Colton, do you have an idea of what it is?
Semi-pro.
No. Tommy Lee and Josh Brolin are not in semi-pro.
Oh, I'm trying to think.
The shopkeeper scene is one of my favorite scenes of the decade. Any takers?
No, go for it.
He flips the coin, puts it on the table, and says, call it. Well, what are we calling for? Call it. No? Oh,
Natural Born Killers.
No Country for Old Men.
Oh,
one of my favorite movies. It's really got it's a simple storyline. A drug deal goes wrong. A rancher stumbles upon money. It belongs to a cartel. That's Josh Brolin's character. He steals this money because he's down on his luck, and carries it, and then is hunted by Javier Bardem's character. And then Tommy Lee Jones in turn is hunting Javier. It's this slow chase. It's this slow build.
It's a slow movie.
It is, but the thing that I have with it is that Javier plays the best villain of the decade, I think. And he's cold. He's
okay,
calculated.
Of the decade.
He's cold. He's calculated. What do you mean, what?
The Dark Knight.
I said one of the best villains.
Yeah, why don't you just give away everybody's list, Colton?
Yeah, no
God.
kidding, Colton. Just relax, okay? We're on number 5. We'll get to everybody's Dark Knight where it resides, okay? We know where we're going, okay? Everybody knows where they're going. But what I want you to do, okay, and those that are listening, if you're driving, do not do this. Wait till you stop, okay? Get to your destination. But I want you to YouTube, okay, the shopkeeper scene in No Country for Old Men. Rewatch that, okay? It's really nothing, but it is so tense. It is just so tense for so long that I just love that movie. And also my wife absolutely hates it. So that's just, side of that. The way the movie ends is just crazy too, because Tommy Lee Jones is just sitting at the table at a kitchen, just talking, and then it fades to black, and that's the end of the movie. And you're
Nice.
like, what?
Yeah, I was very angry watching that movie.
Oh, I loved it. Loved it. No Country for Old Men, number 5.
Sucks.
Good one.
Oh, so that's how this list is going to go? Great. Hey, Colton, what's your number 5?
Oh God. Shaun of the Dead. No.
Nope.
You know what's high?
That's number 1. Yeah.
It's
Sorry.
a Cornetto. It's a Cornetto trilogy. I got the Cornetto trilogy on here. At World's End, number 5.
Oh gosh, no. That's not even 2000.
Go ahead. I know. Go ahead. Go ahead, Colton.
I have a trilogy on here because I couldn't pick just one.
It's like trying to pick every Harry Potter movie that came out in the 2000s.
Well, it's not that. First one came out in 2002, then 2004, then 2007. I think it was kind of the breakout role for this dude. And I think it kind of helped spring load his career into what it is. And that is the Bourne Identity movies.
Oh, yeah.
I remember going to see the first one in theaters and my mom asking my dad, is this a movie I should be going to? Because I was 11 and going to see this movie. And, I just remember going to the theater with my dad to see all 3 of them. So I think it holds that kind of little special spot in my heart for it. But I love the idea of it. I think these would actually be pretty good books to read. I love the idea of him having amnesia and what, Gunnar? I know you're not going to read them.
There he is.
I love the Bourne movies. I really do.
We
talked about that before.
I love the premise of a guy of his stature and his ability having amnesia and trying to find his place in the world while he's slowly getting back to, when they're at that diner scene and he's talking about what he looks for and what he knows before he goes and sits down. And, if he was going to look for a gun, he'd start in the semi and blah, 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 blah. Like just being that far ahead and thinking that far ahead. And, I just like the story of it. And then them trying to, makes you think, does every government have their own quote unquote Jason Bournes? And I think so too. So
Absolutely they do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's podcasts about that. I mean, there are out there. You can listen like hitmen or just like people under, that are placed in places that exactly that. So
yeah, that's my number 5. I
Good.
couldn't pick just one. I just, that whole trilogy to me is awesome.
I agree.
Very nice.
All right, Gunnar, start us off.
So
Jake, what are you writing?
Nothing. Don't you worry.
Don't worry about it. So my number 4 is one of my first ever Wes Anderson movies that I ever watched, and it made me fall in love with Wes Anderson. And Wes Anderson as a director does so many things that are just him, whether it's symmetry, recurring characters, recurring actors, whatever it is. Wes Anderson hits it on the money. His shots are always so clean, and everything is always so just it's just clean cut all around. Now I say recurring actors and the cast for this movie. Let me just read you these names: Owen Wilson, Gwyneth Paltrow, Gene Hackman, Ben Stiller, Bill Murray, Luke Wilson, Danny Glover, Alec Baldwin. Right? Like, you're looking at, star-studded, right? This movie's called The Royal Tenenbaums, and Colton and I have talked about this movie before. It is a movie that I discovered my freshman year of college when I was just flipping through and I found it. And I had talked to friends about Wes Anderson before and how everybody loved him so much. I mean, he did the remake of the Fantastic Mr. Fox and just like all these different movies that he's done that are just awesome. Life Aquatic. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but it's really good. This movie, I would tell any of my friends, anybody I talk to watch because it is a good movie for somebody who loves film to go back and just look at how it's shot and look at the story in general. The script's really good. The plot's really good. Everything about this movie I just love. And really all it is a father who's getting a divorce is trying to make up his relationship with his kids that don't want to make up their relationship with him. And then he ends up dying of a heart attack at the end of the movie. And they all finally realize that he was just trying. So really good. The kids are all, it's kind of like that Umbrella Academy kind of style where the kids all have like these special abilities sort of thing, but they're just like smart. So one's like a really good tennis player, one's a mathematician, like Ben Stiller's a mathematician. Luke Wilson's a tennis player and Gwyneth Paltrow is an artist. So I don't know. It's a movie that I've always loved. You should go watch it if you haven't seen it. If you like, I don't know if you guys like Wes Anderson. Have you watched a lot of Wes Anderson or?
I've seen the Life Aquatic of Steve something. Is it something
Bill
like
Murray.
That?
Yeah,
Bill Murray. Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah,
and I thought it was very odd. Just you talk about his style, and I was like,
his humor.
I do remember that.
His humor is very, very odd, which I think sticks out. Which I think it really works for the movies that he makes, to be honest. But yeah. So yeah.
No, I haven't seen either one of those, so I don't know. But I
you should
put them on a list.
You should check them out. Yeah, The Royal Tenenbaums and Life Aquatic, both great movies.
Awesome.
And Willem Dafoe's in Life Aquatic too. So
William Dafoe.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. So yeah. Number 4.
All right. My number 4, didn't write too much on it, but it's not one of those hidden ones. So number 4 is Avatar, not the Airbender, the blue alien one. To be specific.
Oh, missed opportunity.
Okay. Hey, great ride at Disney.
Yeah, I agreed. My daughter actually rode that. She was tall enough to ride it, and we thought she would hate it, but she absolutely loved it. I remember we put her between my wife and I and looked over at her. Her face was just like big smile, big eyes, just riding on.
No, I do probably have an unpopular opinion about that ride.
Mm-hmm.
It's just soaring.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's an interesting ride. I
will
is. Say
it's
I
cool.
Appreciate how it keeps you in the bike and then it breathes. You know.
Oh yeah.
The breathing is cool. But I mean, it's very simple. It's a very simple ride. You're not really doing a lot. You're just watching a screen, and so Anyway, I had to include this. I think it has to be in a top 5. If it's not in your guys' top 5, I don't know. It is the highest grossing movie of all time. Oh, Gunner's already give me eyes. Maybe you both. Oh my gosh, you both didn't include it.
No,
oh,
so
no.
I was making my list, and I read it to my wife, and she says, "What about Avatar?" I was like, that I hate Avatar.
So you can hate it, that's fine, but I think there is something to it. Is the top grossing movie of all time. It has brought in the most money, over 1.2 billion, I think, total now. They had to re-release it to make sure it stayed on that top. If you guys
above Endgame,
Endgame beat it.
Yep, it did. But then they re-released it here in preparation for the sequel that's coming out soon. That they had to regain that top spot. So it's such a legendary undertaking to shoot that film, like to make the film. And I remember my dad, who really enjoyed film and really enjoyed movies, and would be on these like forums to like know like what movies were being pitched. Like they're not even in production. They're just like ideas, that he somehow knew about. And I remember him talking about Avatar and talking about Avatar and talking about it because it took so long to make it. So many CGI effects that they had to create. And and I will say that if you watch Avatar now, you still are amazed at the visuals. It's not one of those that's like it doesn't hold up and the CGI is like worthless and you're like, oh, that's an old movie. An example of that is go rewatch Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers and watch and watch not the horse scene that you guys are thinking. I'm going to say, look at him when Pip and Mary are on the tree.
The trees. Oh, it's so bad.
God,
it's so bad.
It's bad. But you remember sitting in the theaters being like, this is awesome. Like it looks so cool. But the trees look awful now. Like but you look at Avatar, and it's like it looks like it was created today. So anyway, Avatar, not The Last Airbender, the blue alien one. Being very specific on that because Last Airbender is garbage.
I will say that I hate is a very strong word, and once again the confrontational thing, me being non-confrontational, kind of makes me not like the word hate, but I say it, and I wouldn't say I hate the movie. I would say that I didn't enjoy it because everybody else was
does.
just
Gunner's got
talking
this weird
and
thing.
talking and talking and talking about Avatar and how good it was, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch it because I don't want to watch it. And then I watched it and I was like, I mean, it's cool. It's really cool. And like you said, CGI is absolutely stunning, and you can't knock that. And seeing it at Disney and seeing the mech and seeing the ride and all that kind of gave me a little bit more love for it, I think, than I had just watching the movie. So that helps too. But
will you watch the sequel?
I will go see Way of the Water.
Way of the Water.
Colton, sorry. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Yes, same movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to go see it.
Okay.
Yeah, Colton.
Cool.
My number 4. The first time I watched this movie, I was a junior in high school. It was 4:00 in the morning before one of the biggest basketball games I ever had in my entire life. He stars in another movie that potentially could be on other people's list. In this movie, I don't think it's very well known, but it's a movie called Thank You for Smoking. Nope. Didn't think so.
Nope.
Didn't think so. It's got Aaron Eckhart. You know who that is?
Yeah. You
know who he is if you see him.
I'm trying to think of a role. He wasn't Sabretooth in the Wolverine, was he? Oh man, Colton, why are you doing this to me? Where's my phone?
you watched this movie the night before the state title game?
Rewind. I woke up and I couldn't go back to sleep.
Oh.
Okay.
Harvey Dent.
He's Harvey Dent from Dark Knight.
Okay.
What's Dark Knight?
I don't know. It might be on someone's list.
Oh man, he's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's kind of compiler, but he's pretty much a sales guy, I think, or he's a lawyer. I can't remember, for a big cigarette company, for big tobacco, essentially. And he's talking about how he goes through. It's about going through life and teaching his son that life is about choices, and you get to make those choices. And one of the most powerful things he talks about, and when he's trying to teach his son about debate, and he uses ice cream. No pun intended here.
Question of the pod.
I know, question of the pod.
Bring it back.
Bringing it back to that, but he brings it up. He's like, well, chocolate is the best ice cream, and he says, well, no, it's not. Why is chocolate the best? well, and then the kid goes through his reasonings, and he's like, well, no, it's not better than, this, that, and the other. And he sets up the point that it's not proving that you're right, it's proving that the other person is wrong when you're in a debate. And that's something that's kind of always stuck with me, is being that way, especially like with this whole Marvel DC talk. Like I don't have to prove, you don't have to prove to me that DC's better. I just have to prove that DC sucks, and DC can do that hand and foot easier than Marvel can. So,
God.
but like I said,
Piss off the listeners.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for, brother. But yeah, that movie, I remember watching that movie and I was like, wow, this is a weird movie. And it's just a movie that I've always watched when it's on. It's on my shelf, and it just has a weird, interesting concept of, of choices overall, the biggest thing that we have control over in life. And it doesn't matter. Like with you, Gunner, like you don't want to watch a movie because everybody loves it. Like that's what you do. I mean, you don't think about it, but it's just subconsciously in your head you're gonna do that.
Oh yeah. I always wait until that hype is gone.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just a movie that it just got me thinking. And like I said, I couldn't go to sleep the night before the state tournament, the game, and that movie was on, and it popped up right when I woke up, and it's actually pretty good. It's not fantastic, obviously, but it's pretty B-list for the most part, but it's good. I like it, so that's why it's my number 4.
Nice.
Good.
What about you, Chico? Number 3.
So I'm gonna go back to 2000, start of the decade, the millennia. Is that what that was? Whatever they called it, the midnight on 1999.
Y2K.
Y2K.
Yeah, there it is.
Wow, you are young.
Yeah, I was 5. So sorry.
You okay, Jake?
Sorry, Snake.
You okay, Jake?
Yeah.
He
Hey,
was
it's
5.
okay. It's okay. Stop rubbing
You
your
was
temples.
5.
So
great.
2000. Tom Hanks. This is my second favorite Tom Hanks movie. Second to Big, and we've talked about Big so many times. Castaway.
Yep.
Obviously a movie I can watch anytime, anywhere, any place. If it's on, I'm gonna watch it. I love the plot to the whole movie. I love the fact that he is on the island. Helps to run FedEx, is on the plane. One of the best plane crash scenes I've ever seen in a movie ever. Absolutely amazing. Gets trapped on the island, and I can't remember the exact amount of time he was there, but then ends up going just back to life afterwards. His wife or fiance, they weren't married, I don't think, but gets married, has a kid. He's stuck alone pretty much at that point and goes back to his normal life. Once again, it's kind of that same thing with National Treasure, as it's something that you watch and it's just kind of astounding and amazing to see, because it's things you think about, I guess. It's things you see on TV, like people stranded on an island, people looking for treasure, right? You got Oak Island, you got Survivor, we've talked about. You have these people that are stuck in these places, and you watch a movie where one of your favorite actors of all time, obviously Tom Hanks, amazing, is stuck on an island, and he has to work through it, and he's talking to a volleyball, and he's taking these packages and he's saving some of them back because he doesn't want to open them, and he's the boots of the pilot that died, and he's wearing those, and he has to live, and it's just amazing. It's a great movie. If you've never watched it, I don't know why you haven't watched it. It's like if you haven't watched Forrest Gump, go watch Forrest Gump. Jeez. Tom Hanks, absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen Big, go see Big, because jeez. I love it. Concept's awesome. Great movie.
Yeah, that's excellent. I think also you kind of mentioned it a little bit, like the fact that the great storytelling, that we can become so emotionally attached to an object of a volleyball, right? Like to have that be his only companion, and then when he loses, spoiler alert, when he loses Wilson. Right?
Spoiler alert.
Like it's for people who haven't watched it, who are
22 years.
who right. So pretty much anyone who's 20 and younger hasn't seen it. Okay. Like if you go up to a high school kid now and you say, "Who's Wilson?" They're like, they don't know. Like they don't know who Wilson is.
My dad still has the Wilson volleyball.
Yeah.
With the handprint on it and the smiley face drawn in it.
Right.
Well, it's still a good volleyball. It doesn't have the the dead grass shoved into it. Yeah. Which maybe we should do that.
People cried in the theater. Like people were sad and cried because he lost Wilson. Like
could you
yeah.
Could you imagine if there was IMAX back then for that plane crash scene though?
Ooh.
My gosh, that would have been intense. Like I always think of The Dark Knight Rises, that initial plane scene where they are taking the plane apart pretty much to kidnap the scientist, right? I saw that in IMAX and it was an amazing scene. Not a great movie, amazing scene. Castaway in IMAX. Oh, yeah. I would love to see that.
Yes. And his dentistry, right? The fact that he was his own, right? Like, that cringe of just like, he had to knock out his own tooth.
The cuts on the feet in the water when he's walking on the coral and all that stuff. Like, oh man, I might go watch it now. See you guys. I love Castaway.
Excellent. That's great.
All right, what you got, Snake?
All right, number 3, a film that came out during my senior year of high school. It filled my entire school year with quotes amongst friends. A movie without really a major conflict, a deep storyline, or really any moral lessons. This movie still, though, will make my side hurt with laughter. Not one to watch around your parents, grandparents, or kids in my stage of life, but still one of my favorite overall movies. Super bad.
Yep. I knew it.
I literally, when I talked to Jordan, my brother, who Jordan, I'm Jake. Jordan is my brother. I was talking to him the other day, and literally we just started quoting it, and we could just go back and forth and back and forth, and just a movie that features, you got Jonah Hill, you got Bill Hader, you got
Seth Rogen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I can't think of the
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate that. Just a movie really about nothing. A movie about a day. A movie about a quest. And like I said, not appropriate at all for your parents. For
the old lady in the grocery store.
Yes. Good luck, Jules. I will. But it just there are so many lines that just make you like, it's about senior year, right? There's only like 2 weeks left in school, and they're just doing whatever they want, and like that was us. Like we, not to that level, but like we would quote that. We'd be like, "There's 3 weeks left in school. Give me an effing break."
Yeah. Oh my.
Sorry for cursing.
So I don't know that I told Colton this story. So at my brother's wedding, I walked in because I upstairs they were doing the hair and stuff, and I can't remember. I was delivering something to the ladies upstairs, and I walked in. I was talking, and the hairstylist turned around and goes, "You sound a lot like Michael Cera." I was like, "Oh God, my life has changed." Yeah, no, not a good compliment. I don't think.
No,
I would agree with that.
So yeah, sorry.
But it also led to the best name for a fake ID that's ever been promoted on any movie. I am McLovin. That's right. You could be McLovin. Here the shopkeeper's gonna think it's another kid with a fake ID, or McLovin, a 26-year-old Hawaiian organ donor.
Oh my goodness. Yes, a Hawaiian organ donor.
Why wouldn't you pick 21?
Oh man. That is Jonah Hill's probably peak movie of all time. Mm-hmm. To be honest, I don't know that he's done anything better. 21 Jump Street. He's one of those like cringy characters, right? But you go back to Superbad and you watch him in that, and you're like, this is the Jonah Hill I want to see.
It's such a funny movie. Like I said, it really doesn't matter. Like there's no major conflict. It's not a thinker. Like it's a movie with a bunch of curse words and a just a just a high school voyage to try and lose their virginity pretty
Get
much.
laid,
So
yeah.
get laid. So it's a movie that just holds true to me and growing up, and I know
I can't think of the
that's why it's number
line
3.
when the lady's jogging. He's like running after him saying, "I gotta see these." I can't. I don't remember the exact line, but it's hilarious.
We used to quote it. Oh, that's a. Oh, I'm on these bad boys or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh
I gotta
my
go see these
gosh.
bad boys.
I gotta check these out or something.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh
I
my
love
gosh.
Superbad. It is in my honorable mentions. It is right there on my
There you go.
computer. Yeah,
Solid.
great movie.
Cody?
Colton? Cody, sorry.
Who would I be without having an Edgar Wright film in my top 3?
Yeah, okay, let me grab
Here
a
we
beer.
go. Here we go. Go ahead, Colton.
Gutter just bounced for those who are just listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast or Podbean or wherever you get your podcasts. So Gunner's officially gone and he has cracked a beer, so we have that going for us.
Were you doing plugs while I was gone?
Yes.
No, I was not.
Continue to stick around to see if you win those Wally Bucks.
There you go. Hot Fuzz 07.
There it is.
It is my favorite movie of the Cornetto trilogy. Obviously, one of my most favorite quotable movies. I just love it. I don't know what it is about. I don't know what it is. I would probably watch it tonight. Just because I have no reason. I love the recurring characters. I love the script. I love everything about it. I love the cheesiness of it. I love
You love the greater good.
It's for the greater good.
The greater good.
Yes, Gunnar, did you know that? It's for the greater good?
For the
Greater good.
Oh my. I mean, it's a movie that Jake can attest. We watched this movie a bunch along with Shaun of the Dead. Like those are the movies we just watched a lot of, and we could quote them. Like it's, him and his brother. It's true. Like you ever get caught in a room with those two, and they're just talking to each other. Always, Gunner. Let me tell you something. Always guess a movie, okay?
Yep.
Always guess a movie.
Always. What's that movie from? Name that movie. That's right.
Always name that movie.
It's kind of funny you guys both just mentioned movies with two hilarious cops.
I know, right? I mean, I threw a stuffed monkey at him, said playtime's over, and bashed him over the head.
Nice.
I hit him, knocked him right into the cooler. Did you tell him to cool off?
Cool off?
Shame.
So,
yeah, I mean, it's just a great. I just love it. You ever? Yes, I got my dad to do that. I got my dad to watch that movie, and I didn't think he would. And his favorite quote, he still does it today. He goes, "Jog on," all the time.
Murder. Change the bloody record.
And they're putting in coins, putting in money into the square box. That scene is just great. You wonder why we call them the Andes.
Is both name Andrew?
He's good. I mean, so yeah, that's why it's my number 3. I could have obviously I could have put Shaun of the Dead. It's an honorable mention, but I wanted to just keep it fresh, keep it different, keep it moving, because everybody knows who listens to this podcast that I have an infectious love for the Cornetto trilogy, and this is when they shined.
Yeah.
So, Hot Fuzz, my favorite, just barely beats out Shaun of the Dead. I think to me it just has more quotable lines. Is why I like it more.
Nice.
So now, Chico, your number 2. Does it make you cry?
This particular movie, no. but later on with this character, yes.
Intriguing.
2008. Can you guess it just by the year?
Pineapple Express.
Nope. Great movie. I love it's in my honorable mentions.
It is a great movie. I do love that movie.
It doesn't have a sequel. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, I'm sure that you could technically say that This Is the End would kind of be a sequel when you have all those guys showing up in the same movies. But
it's a good point.
But it doesn't make me cry.
So I'm actually surprised you didn't guess it just by the year.
Oh,
it is Iron Man.
Oh,
yes.
Interesting.
RDJ. Shout out to Lucas. You know, the guy that got him into movies.
That's true.
To me, Iron Man is a superhero that we got that we didn't know we wanted, and I think a lot of people say that. Like, you go like read the comic books, right? Like Iron Man is that. How many people knew about Iron Man before a movie came out, right? Jake is giving me.
I did it.
I didn't. I thought you were quoting the dark, like you were going the Dark Knight all of a sudden. Just again bringing that in there, like Iron Man isn't the superhero we thought we needed, just the one we deserved to need to deserve.
I'm gonna tell everyone right now, Dark Knight is not my number one. I love Dark Knight. It's in my honorable mentions.
It's not my number one.
But I will put Iron Man in here because Iron Man is not the reason that I watch movies. The reason I watch movies is because of my dad, my parents, going to college, all this stuff, right? But Iron Man is one of the big reasons that Colton and I probably do this podcast. Marvel is important to us no matter what they do here now or in the future, but we started there and that's why we're here. So it's a great movie. CGI is still pretty darn good for 2008. We act like that's forever ago, but it's really not, right? And there were a lot of characters in that movie that you just fall in love with. You got Pepper and Happy and Tony. I mean, and Rhodey before they switched him out for Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many good things, and it was a great start to a great bunch of movies, and I don't know, just always loved Iron Man, always loved RDJ as Iron Man. So yeah,
right. It's solid.
Throw it up there. Number 2. Excited. And yes, Endgame does make me cry.
That's fair. I think it makes everybody cry who's been along for the ride since 2008. Yes. If you've been along since 2008, I think
you deserve. You're allowed to.
Yeah, I'd agree.
All right, Jake. Does your number 2 make you cry?
No, it does not.
Ooh, here we go.
Perhaps the most jaw-dropping last 15 minutes of any movie. The cast of this movie is absolutely loaded with talent. Matt Damon, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jack Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg, and Martin Sheen. A story of sheep among wolves from both sides of the law. This movie captured some of the Mount Rushmore of actors in their prime in the 2000s. The hefty runtime, which is 2 hours and 32 minutes, goes by quickly as you are immersed in a world expertly crafted by Martin Scorsese, one of his best films. Also on the Mount Rushmore of directors is Martin Scorsese. Getting head shakes from Colton. No,
not his best film. Not his best film.
Okay, one of them. Maybe one of his.
I'll give you that.
Maybe a Mount Rushmore of Scorsese films. Is it on?
It's top 4.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Top 4. Yeah, this one's definitely top 4.
Absolutely worth the watch and highly recommended. And that movie would be The Departed. A movie that I didn't really know about. I didn't watch it when it was released. I actually watched it later. Just something that kind of was intriguing. I don't remember how I got into it, but when we watched it, like I was in. Like you get hooked. It's a movie that hooks you early and it keeps you there, and it holds that suspense. For, like I said, it's a 2.5 hour movie. It's a long movie. But it doesn't feel like that because you don't really know what's going to happen next with it. I appreciate Leonardo DiCaprio's whole storyline of, like, he gets kicked out of the academy. He doesn't make it as a police officer. He goes, he goes back to rough part of Boston, and he joins this gang, but then find out that he's really just a mole. Like, that's what he is. It was all a cover. And then to also learn that Matt Damon's character is a mole for that same mob in the police force. So it's this cat and mouse game. They go back and forth, and Jack Nicholson just being the main antagonist, and dying in the movie in a ungraceful way of dying in like a in like the bucket of a front loader. Like, that's where he died. I think it was clever. Like, it didn't have to be this big drawn out dramatic thing. Like, no, he got shot and died in a front loader. And then what I hinted at, the most jaw-dropping last 15 minutes of the movie, and there have been plenty of spoilers in it, so don't continue to listen anymore if you want to go watch it and you haven't seen it. That elevator scene where Leo has captured Matt Damon, and Matt Damon's still trying to talk his way out of it, and then realizes he's done. Like, it's over. He starts crying in the elevator, right? And then doors open and Leo takes one right to the head. And it's like, what? And it's crazy how Matt Damon gets away with it. Like, then Matt Damon kills the other cops, and like it is insane. You're like, this can't be the ending. This can't be the ending, right? And then you finally get that final scene where Mark Wahlberg walks in with the shoes, with the saran wrapped up.
Yeah,
they're like wrapped up, and he just walks in with a silencer. It just puts a couple in Matt Damon, and that's the end of the movie. And you're like, yes. Amazing ending.
Ends it with the rats on the ledge.
Yes, the rats. Yes, like it's one of the best movies of the decade for sure. It's why it's on my top 5, and my second of all time is The Departed.
Nice. Departed is a great movie. Colton, did your number 2 make you cry?
The ending does.
Okay.
Right.
I feel like this actor owned the 2000s. As I was doing research for this movie, I stopped putting down this actor's movies because there was just so many of them. And in the 2000s, it's a historical movie. Maybe one of the greatest lines ever, top 5 ever. Lines ever spoken in a movie.
You're doing a whole different episode at this point.
I know. I could. It's a story of betrayal, love for city state. Oh, I thought I'd get Jake with that.
Oh, are we going? Oh yeah, I think I know what it is.
Are you gonna say the line, or are you just gonna?
Let's hear the
Are
line.
you not entertained?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
Is this not why you're here?
Got it.
Gladiator. Fantastic movie. Russell Crowe killed the 90s.
Fat Russell Crowe?
We're not doing that list. It's the 2000s.
Or the 2000s.
That was
He
last
killed
week.
the 2000s. He killed the 2000s.
You're a week
Thank you.
behind yourself, man.
Yes, thank you, Jake. Thank you for. I know
Always
you're just
correcting.
Head of marketing, always here.
always. No, just great, fantastic movie. It is a long movie. The journey he goes from the top of the Roman ranks to the bottom because of the nutless leader that was there, knowing he would be chosen, and he pretty much just tells him, "Hey, guess what? You suck." So, and then that whole going through the whole life of a gladiator, the fights, what it meant to win your freedom, and just a fantastic movie. Because I was a little kid when this movie came out. I remember seeing the Coliseum, and that's something that I would love to see. Would have loved if I could go back in time. That would be something I would love to see when it was packed and stuff was going down. I think that would be just it would be really cool. But yeah, I just love this movie. It's a great movie. fight scenes I thought were great. And yeah,
Man,
like
I'm gonna add another movie because when you mention Gladiator, it makes me think of it is Troy. And that was, I mean, 2004. I actually just had to Google it because I didn't know exactly what year it came out. But Troy also is, it's kind of same time period as kind of movie, and you get that real kind of feeling on how things would have happened at that time period. So, but yeah, Gladiator is amazing.
So,
yeah,
the consensus quote from Gladiator is, "Are you not entertained?" What is your guys' consensus quote for Troy?
Oh man, do you have one?
Hector.
oh gosh.
Just the scene of oh man, when he takes down right at the beginning when he
I was
does
gonna say
the
the
one
opening
shot to the throat,
the Euro step before the Euro
Yeah.
step.
That's right.
And just right into the neck and just walks off into the sunset like, yeah, I'm going back to bed.
I mean, that Thor took that from that scene, right?
Oh, yeah.
when he takes out the rock person, I don't know what you call him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, that Troy, one of the best opening scenes in a movie, I would
For sure.
argue.
Yeah, but definitely, Colton, I agree with your Gladiator. Like Ridley Scott, also maybe a director that's not talked about too much in the 2000s, but definitely put a lot of quality movies out there for us to talk about. But Gladiator is definitely an excellent choice and an excellent number 2.
Like
on
even
that
like
list.
even like the end part, like when he's going into the afterlife and he's that's those shots that he did. It's just, to me it was like, huh! he shouldn't be seeing, this is not how he should be seeing his wife.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god. So yeah, it's just that those to me, the last 10 minutes of that movie is an emotional, when he gives him that hug in the chambers of the Coliseum and he stabs him. Like from there on
Joaquin
out,
Phoenix does
yeah,
that.
Joaquin.
Yes. Live.
So yeah, I mean, I thought that was beautifully shot when he's going in between that life and the real life and the afterlife. So that's my number 2.
That's great.
Chico,
Very
any
nice.
honorables?
Too many. That's the
Yeah.
problem. I mentioned at the beginning of this, before we started the list, that these are the movies that we all really comprehended and just fell in love with. I'm going to start with The Dark Knight because we've talked about it so much. Some honorable mentions: The Dark Knight, Pan's Labyrinth. If you've never seen Pan's Labyrinth, that movie, absolutely phenomenal. Great movie. Superbad. I love Superbad. Juno, one of my favorites. Tropic Thunder, we've talked about. School of Rock, Wedding Crashers, we've talked about on the Call Guys before. Moulin Rouge, very, very underrated. I would call it a musical, I guess. Super great movie. Ewan McGregor does phenomenal. I Am Legend, I can't say enough about that movie. Will Smith does an amazing job. Dodgeball. we all
I didn't even think about Dodgeball.
We all love Dodgeball. The Devil Wears Prada, and I'm gonna do 2 Anne Hathaways right away because The Devil Wears Prada and The Princess Diaries, both.
Oh my, solid
go wrong.
movies.
Yep.
Solid.
And Troy, because we just mentioned it. So
yeah.
I think have more fun with the honorable mentions because we just keep rapid firing all these movies, and it's like, oh my gosh, yes, like just love them. Again, just like under too many really to name on here, but ones that I did put down: Taken. 300. That seemed to be like a bookmark of like, you got to watch that. Zoolander, underrated Ben Stiller comedy, Will Ferrell. American Psycho, talked about that one on the pod before.
Christian Bale.
Yep, young Christian Bale. Remember the Titans. V for Vendetta, talked about that one on the pod.
Oh yeah.
Black Hawk Down. Colton's Gladiator was on there. The Hangover. Elf,
Oh yeah,
Anchorman. A lot of mine are Will Ferrell. You can get picked up on that. Inside Man, I think, is an underrated movie.
good one.
Denzel. Tropic Thunder, Finding Nemo, School of Rock, $1 Million Baby, Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, Inglorious Bastards,
Mm-hmm.
Minority Report, younger Tom Cruise, older movie, Slumdog Millionaire, Wally, The Hurt Locker, and Children of Men, which I put on there last to see if you've seen that movie. I didn't know if you guys have seen that one.
I think it's definitely been a while. I don't even know if I could tell you anything about it. That's the problem.
Ooh,
I think it's
I'm Googling right now.
Yeah, Colton's like, type away.
yeah.
Let me tell you everything
Type-
about it because I've
Let me
seen.
tell you what happened to this movie. Okay,
Yeah.
so synopsis, right? Like the human population becomes infertile, and there's not allowed to have, like, we just can't have children anymore.
Okay, not the movie I thought.
Yep.
I thought
and
it was
it's-
a timepiece movie.
Nope. So it's set in the future. Human population is declining rapidly because no one's, some reason, inexplicably, we can no longer have children. And then there's found this one woman who's pregnant, and it's about protecting her, and it's about political things as well, because it's like using her as a pawn to gain power because she's the only pregnant woman in the world, presumably. But it's just a really good movie, low budget film that's really deep, makes you think a little bit more, and is very realistic. Nothing too over the top with it. But I just add that one on there because I just really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Colton?
Yeah, I mean, we caught a lot of my honorable mentions. I think some that did we mention Casino Royale?
No.
Good one.
Did we mention Man on Fire?
Ooh, nice.
Underrated Denzel movie. And then The Last Samurai.
Oh,
great.
man. I skip out on that one.
Great.
I mean, every movie you guys have said in the honorable mentions, of course, yes. Movies I've definitely forgot of even thinking about.
No deja vu from you, Gunnar? That's time travel.
Hey, not yet.
He hasn't done his
I was
number one
kidding.
yet. He hasn't done
No,
his
there
number
is
one.
no time
There's-
travel on my number one.
There's no way deja vu's is number one.
All right, brother. All right, brother. What's your number one?
So as I'm driving back from the Emperor's house this evening, I looked at Sarah and I said, I need to listen to this song because I need to prepare myself for what I'm going to say for my number one on the call guys tonight, right? Like I have a quote, an altered quote from one of my favorite musicians of all time, which is Dave Grohl. Tiny Dancer, 2 words that strike a chord in every sensitive 27-year-old man. A song that I don't think I had ever heard until I saw the movie Almost Famous. So every night before I go to bed, I thank Cameron Crowe for opening a part of me that I didn't know was there until now. And that is Dave Grohl on the David Letterman show when he played, I think it was David Letterman, when he played Tiny Dancer, his own rendition of the song. And Almost Famous is my number one movie from the 2000s. Big reason is my dad introduced me to the movie, and it has been a movie that I have made Sarah watch, and I have went back and watched countless times because it's just a fun movie to watch. You get a young kid who gets a job with Rolling Stone to go follow a band and write an article about them, right? And you get a love story, you get a confrontational love story because the girl he's in love with is in love with the guitar player from the band. And yeah, I can't think of how old he is at this time. I think he might be 16. I'm not sure, but like you get all this stuff. He's touring with the band, he's on the bus, he's really getting to know the artist, and he's getting to know Penny, who is played by Kate Hudson. And I don't know, it's just such a fun movie to watch, and there's so many memorable scenes. The bus scene obviously is what Dave Grohl's talking about, where they sing Tiny Dancer on the bus. And I honestly made me fall in love with the song Tiny Dancer. You get Elton John, and it's an amazing song. I love it. There's a lot of great actors. You got Jason Lee, who most people know Jason Lee from My Name is Earl, but we know him from Mallrats and a lot of the Miramax films. Zoe Deschanel's in it. Jimmy Fallon makes an appearance in it. Philip Seymour Hoffman is in it. I mean, a lot of great actors and actresses. And to me, it's just a fun movie to watch. And as a kid, it's a movie that really made me want to become a director, because you see a kid going out following his dreams and trying to become a writer for a magazine that writes about bands. So Almost Famous, which we have talked about on the Call Guys before, but great movie. My dad, I'm sure, will be proud, and I'm sure that's in his top 5 from the 2000s too. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's good.
Nice.
I have to admit, I've actually never seen that movie. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I know.
Do you have the Captain America list that you have written down movies on the Call Guys?
Yes. That list is long. The list is long because there's a
yes.
lot of movies out there. It's just funny every time I hear Almost Famous. There's actually another movie with the exact same title, Almost Famous, with Chris Farley and
It's
Matthew
exactly what I
Perry.
think of every time Gunnar
And
brings it up. And I was like, that's not the one he's thinking about. That's not
I
the one he's
know.
talking about.
I know.
Colton,
I know.
have you ever seen Almost Famous?
I think I've seen it once.
Okay.
Because I remember the story of the kid, the writer in the band.
Well, go watch it again.
Yeah, no, it's definitely on the list. I mean, I know it's a good movie. I know people have recommended it, and what you're saying is that it checks all the boxes for me to watch it. I just got to go watch it. So
yeah,
I think it's on a streaming platform.
I'm sure it is. Let me just Google it, and I'll be our in-house Google since Courtney is not here. So
all right, that sounds good.
And then give me your number one, Snake.
All right, so my number one is a movie that's written, produced, and directed by the same influential person. The movie was released July 18th, 2008 as the summer blockbuster. The second installment will be one of the top grossing trilogies of all time. The main antagonist left his mark in cinema and is forever remembered as an incredible portrayal of the famous villain. Mine is The Dark Knight. That is correct. A movie that cannot be untwined from Heath Ledger, and an actor who equally cannot be separated from his portrayal of the Joker. Christopher Nolan's vision for the Cape Crusader is at its climax in this movie, and the gut-wrenching moment of the failed rescue hits as hard as Andrew Garfield's failed attempt to save his own love years later. My number one movie for the 2000s is one I watch anytime, anywhere.
You know how I got these scars?
I think that even if in playing the game of what if, even if Heath Ledger did not commit suicide, after that movie was produced and released, I think it still would be his greatest portrayal. I think. I don't know what else he would do after that. Definitely with him, passing away, it definitely leaves that mark that you kind of remember, and the stories of him struggling, with the effects of playing that kind of character. But I find it fascinating to listen to stories, or even listen to Heath himself talk about the role, and just learn about how he immersed himself in it, and learn about the different aspects that he ad-libbed or created or put his own spin on. And that happens all the time when actors or actresses are playing their role. But two that I really remember are when he crashes the party scene at the penthouse suite. So he crashes the party, and he's looking, and he goes up to Rachel, and he grabs her, and he's talking to her about his scars, and like the way that she's pulling away and everything, like learning that was not scripted, that Heath did that without her knowing that he was going to do that, and that her like pulling away and looking to the sides is her looking to the producers, directors to help her, because she doesn't know what he's doing. And Christopher, in great thinking, just let Heath go and didn't cut it, didn't say stop, like just let that roll, and we got that piece. And the second one that I learned that he also just did on his own was the scene where he's in the jail cell, and he's just sitting there by himself, and he's just staring ahead, and then you get to the point where, and the tongue ticks are important too.
Yeah.
But he starts clapping, and everyone turns and looks at him because he wasn't supposed to be clapping during that time. He did that on his own, and like their reactions are genuine. And I think that's what makes a great portrayal that much better, is that you get the true reactions of their colleagues because they do something they weren't supposed to do, and it surprises them, and it just makes people react in a way that you want them to react, that they would react in that same setting. And I love it. I love the movie. I will watch it anytime, anywhere. I didn't really enjoy Batman Begins that much. It started Batman, it gave us a different view into Batman other than Michael Keaton and, God help us, Val Kilmer. Like, just did not. I just did not have a good run of Batmans in there. And so this was a breath of fresh air when The Dark Knight finally came around. And I know you've alluded to it tonight, Hunter, or Gunner. But I did. I said Hunter. I'm sorry. But Dark Knight Rises just kind of, with Bane, it was like, okay, it's a good villain, but the movie just kind of didn't land as well as The Dark Knight always does, and I think always will.
Well, literally everything you just said made me want to go watch it right now. To be honest, like it really did, until you called me Hunter, and then I got kind of lost.
Sorry.
But I called you Jordan, so I mean that's payback, I guess. But no, I completely 100% agree that Heath Ledger as the Joker is what made that movie so great. I do think that Christian Bale has played one of the best portrayals of Batman that we've seen probably since, oh gosh, I would say Keaton probably, but I mean, there really is so much about that movie that makes you want to watch it. When Bale comes around with the motorcycle and makes the truck flip, and Ledger gets out and he's stunned and he's like, hit me, he just gets that. It's just that emotion of him playing that character. It
felt
amazing.
Real when he said that.
Yeah.
Felt real. Like, yeah. I was like, I think this dude's off his rocker when he's saying this.
Yeah.
Yes. Fully immersed in the role, fully crazy. Just it is his reveal at the beginning, right? Where at the bank, right, his takes the mask off, and it's just this big dramatic entrance like that. that is it gets you goosebumps to like think about, like, that's how he starts, right? And it's like everything he does, from the part where he blows up the hospital and he's in the nurse's gown, right? Like he gets thrown off the building, and yet Batman has to save him because he can't actually kill him. And like the Joker's like, I'm not gonna kill you. Why would I kill you? It's too much fun. Like it's such a different level of just crazy that just appreciate it. And I know with the Joker, with Joaquin, bringing back to Joaquin Phoenix, he redid that origin story, and it was good. It was good, and he had to tackle it, and it was so hard for him to do because we all just have Heath Ledger's Joker in our mind, and we'll always compare any Joker to that. And also the fact that Heath Ledger took on that role after, Jack Nicklaus had already portrayed the Joker and had already done, and it was such an icon in the Keaton Batmans to play the Joker and to take on that role and tackle it in the way he did was, I love it.
I kill the bus driver.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Then he steps to the side.
Great.
Yeah. No, you 100%. 100%.
So yeah.
Also, Eccles. Crap, what was his name? Eckhart, yeah. As Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, as Two-Face. So he goes Harvey Dent, good guy, and then becomes Two-Face. And it's like,
one of my favorite quotes of the Joker is when he is hanging upside down and he's talking about, you don't think I'd leave this to a fist fight with Batman, do you? And he always got to have an ace in the hole. And like that's when you knew, like, he played him the entire time, because he knew just the brilliance of the character showed to me in that point.
The magic trick also is a very, very, very memorable scene too.
Yeah, see this pen disappear?
Pencil, yeah. I want to see a magic trick.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's just awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Great
Great.
number one,
Good
Snake.
number one. Good number one.
Thank you.
Colton.
Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, young Scarlett Johansson, 2006, a movie about magic, The Prestige. This movie, I'm telling you, I talked about it last week with Fight Club. Fight Club was one of the first movies I watched, and I said, I got to watch this again to fully understand it. That Prestige movie, I think I had to watch it 3 or 4 times in a row in order to catch every little thing that was going through. I thought it was super, super well written. I love the performance of Bale and Jackman. I love how Scarlett Johansson plays the love interest of both of them and how she goes from both side to side throughout her whole time in the story. That movie, I can always watch it again and find something different or find a little minute detail I like to play the game of who loved who with Christian Bale's character every time I watch it. And it almost changes every time I watch it because I have a new theory on who is who. And it is about magic. I do have a secret love for magic. I love anything magic. And that's probably another reason why I'm hooked on it. Is because it goes through the making of a magic trick. And I just really, really enjoy this movie. I watch it every single time. Definitely say if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's great. It's just about 2 young magicians who are fighting for the title of best magician from where they're from. And it's just great. The ending makes you think, what in the heck is going on with this dude? And is it the end? Is it not the end? So yeah, it's a really, really good thinking movie that it's one of the first few that I ever watched that made me want to rewatch a movie like 2 times in a row. So that is my number one of the 2000 is The Prestige.
Great movie. Definitely a great movie.
So that's a really good one, Colton. So would you like when I think of the magic, like those movies with dealing with magic, it's like, okay, The Prestige and The Illusionist, right? Like, so like you remember like The Illusionist at all?
Yeah. Yeah. Ed Norton. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I always thought it was a little bit different, but it was still kind of the same movie.
Yeah.
In a sense.
And like, again, spoilers on these movies, but like in The Prestige isn't like the big twist in The Prestige, because the big twist in The Illusionist is that she's not actually dead. Like the love interest isn't actually dead and whatever. But like in The Prestige, isn't the big twist that they're like twins? Like that's the big reveal that Kirsten Bear's character actually are twins, and one of them died.
Correct.
Because yeah, okay. And they had to like, I remember the one scene where it was like one of Christian Bale's twins had lost a finger. And they
and his wife is complaining about how, it looks like it just happened again. It's bleeding just as bad as it was when you first did it.
Yes, that little detail, and you're like, wait.
Yeah, and I was like, and you go back to when they're doing the when they're at the Oriental Man's magic show, and they're going through, and he's outside looking, like watching this dude just walk to his carriage, and he's like, this is the real magic, like this is it. Right. It's not what he does on the stage. This is it right here. And that's, to me, that went off in my head as like, okay, this dude is like down for the cause. Like he's willing to do whatever it takes to be the greatest.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a solid number one. I think it's the first time I watched it was at your house. I'm pretty sure you're the one that told me to watch the movie. So it's your, like, and both those movies, probably Illusionist and The Prestige. And absolutely amazing movie. Solid number one. That's great.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, everybody, great list. Snake, your 90s list, great list.
Ooh,
I mean,
thanks.
I more than anything, I think Colton and I don't even know that we really discussed these 3 episodes as being a series of episodes. I just kind of came up with the idea one day and then ran it across him. He's like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I think this has been super fun. And I know Colton had mentioned before, I think it was before we even started recording that we should have had a guest on all of these episodes. Maybe it was while we were recording, but maybe that would have made them even more fun, but I think being able to discuss the movies that we love and going over the movies that we grew up with, the movies that we, really knew, and then the movies that we learned to love. I think there's a lot in those movies. And I think a lot of people have a lot of different movies growing up that they just love more than we do, I guess. I mean, there's so many movies in those decades, and it's hard to choose 5. And that's why our honorable mentions lists were so freaking long. But yeah,
I just appreciate it, be having the opportunity to hop on here with you guys and talk a little bit about movies that we all love and movies that we all enjoy, even if we haven't seen them, and learning some movies that I haven't seen and I can add to my list. Just appreciate your guys' flexibility and catering to fans and continuing to just promote your podcast and doing all that. And speaking of promotions, I think we've got a giveaway that
we do
coming up here.
I just brought out the old notebook.
All right.
So, I actually do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 people we had enter into this Wally Bucks giveaway. And as I mentioned at the beginning, and I didn't think we were going to hop right into this, so I'm not really 100% prepared yet, but I'm going to pull this up. I did make a wheel for us to spin here.
Wheel of
names.
Wally.
Wheel of Wally Bucks. So there are all the names here. Everybody that has been entered to 1 time, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, whatever it is, your names are in there that many times. I am going to spin this wheel and it will give us the winner of the Wally Bucks. Now, the Emperor did mention that if he is pulled first round, that he will add $25 to the actual final prize, and then we will go from there. But I do just want to mention everybody that did enter, since there's not, 1,000 people. I can do this. Chris obviously entered in, sent us the picture of the squid with Wally's face on it. Hannah, Colton's cousin, I definitely want to thank you. We are excited to be a part of your wedding here coming up next year. Arian, once again, we talked about you earlier. I really appreciate you listening every week, sending emails, being consistent. Phil, the Chief from Indiana Chiefs fans, man, thanks for listening and liking the post. Brandon Taylor, who was also on the Indiana Chiefs fans podcast, thank you. He liked, shared, and commented on a post, so he got 5 entries. The Emperor, obviously. Fat Billy Ray, you're the man. Fat Billy Ray's wife, Michelle, who is one of the most amazing ladies I've ever known in my life. She's in for an entry. My mom, Bobby, in for an entry. Coach Rob, in for an entry. Snake Plissken, in for an entry. And then the out of nowhere person that is in for an entry is Cam. He just came out of nowhere with a email. Awesome. You're in for the Wally Bucks, even if you don't even want to be in. If you're from a different state, I'm sorry, man, but you're in for the Wally Bucks.
Yeah.
Brett Houlihan. Colton can kind of talk about that one a little bit more, but thanks for the entry. What do you say?
Thank you, Brett.
He liked the post or
shared? Yeah, he just liked the Facebook post.
And then the Does also in. Yes, that is Colton's dad, Bill Keel. So
oh yeah, let's get this going.
We got a lot. Are you guys ready? We're gonna click and it's gonna spin and it's gonna.
All right.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Did you click it?
Oh, it's going.
Is it?
Look at it spin.
Barely.
It's kind of laggy, but here we go. Wait.
We are moving at lightning speed.
We got some applause. Are you guys there yet?
Nope, we're not there
No.
yet.
Well, let it go because there is a little bit of lag in there.
Hell
It is
yeah.
Brandon. Yes, Brandon Taylor in for the Wally Bucks. Brandon, I will get a hold of you and I will get you these Wally Bucks, whether I take them to your house because I know where you live, or
Yep.
or I get them mailed to you. You will get these Wally Bucks. I'll send you a Facebook
That's
message
awesome.
here. Now this releases on Monday, so when you hear this, when you hear me say your name on the mic, Brandon Taylor, I will send you a message. So
Yes.
Right.
yes. All right. We got the Wally Bucks winner, Brandon Taylor, who has been a guest host on the Indiana Chiefs Fans podcast and did
Yes, he
an awesome
was.
job. Huge Colts fan. Came on the week of the disappointing loss that Jake had to mention to me earlier.
For the shoe.
Yeah. And yeah. So there you go. Hey,
That's great.
4 episodes of promoting these things that have been sitting on my desk. So Brandon, I just want you to know I don't know how they work, so you'll have to figure that one out yourself.
We just did a giveaway for nothing.
Well, I'm sure they're worth $10, but I don't know if you can use all 5 of them at one time. I'm sure you can. We're about to figure out. We'll see. We will see.
Penguin Point.
Yes, but totally worth it. All right. You guys have anything else you want to add? 80s, 90s, or 2000s?
I think you kind of nailed it, buddy. I mean, I love doing these last couple episodes because just going through the movies that kind of made me and I grew up with, like going through and just like reliving those memories. That was fun. So I've really enjoyed these last couple weeks doing this. So yeah, and I love that we got the Skywalker, we got Snake this week.
Yeah.
I mean, we should have got the Emperor to do the 80s. That would have been, I think,
We should have. That would have been perfect. Would have
Yeah.
been perfect.
And
Hindsight's 2020 on that one.
of course. Man, if only we had a time machine.
Can't go back. You only go forward.
I won't be that dumb. I'll just create the backwards way.
Yeah, Professor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed like going through and like great movie. Okay, crap.
that's what all these have been.
How do I put this how do I make this into a list?
You know, one of my favorite parts of these 3 episodes, and maybe you want to mention yours, whatever your favorite part was of these past 3, but for one, Snake coming back and being on, I think that is awesome, and being last minute and just being prepared because he was already there and listening. But when the Skywalker switched the Matrix for Twister, that was awesome. And I actually I don't think it was that evening, but the evening after, I made Sarah watch it with me. And going back and watching Twister, I forgot how much I absolutely love that movie. So, once again, Snake, thank you. Jake, thank you.
Thank you. And I think the question was asked about the quote, a quote from Twister, and it was lobbed up there because my family uses this quote from Twister all the time. Whenever anyone is a little bit, hungry, and everyone's talking about like, well, what do you guys want to do next, or what's the plan, right? And it's always food. And that is a quote, Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's an obscure one from the scene where they're gonna go to the grandma's house, her mom's house.
The aunts. It was the aunt, right?
The aunt, sorry, the aunt. You're
Yeah.
right. The aunt's house. They're gonna go to aunt, and they're gonna eat that food. They're gonna eat that cow. It's all about food.
Yeah,
food.
and they're eating like steak and eggs, and
It's eaten so well. And
now
let's breeze over the fact that the climax of that movie is they belt strap themselves to a pipe and the shed just disintegrates around them perfectly, not to impale them with anything or hit them with anything, just kind of misses them, and they just get to ride a tornado. I'll be honest, when I was a kid, I was like, that's all you have to do to survive a tornado. I'm doing that. Like, I'm going to make sure I have a belt close by so I had to go strap myself to something.
Yeah.
And that's all I need to do.
So being where I'm at today and just being able to understand the things like that, right? Like I'm watching this with Sarah and we're sitting there and I'm like, all of those boards that were just stakes and ready to just impale them, flying in through the building and just hitting things and just sticking in them. I'm like, yeah, there's no way they're living through all of that. And then the shed scene happens. And I did mention that my favorite scene from that whole movie is when they're under the little overpass bridge kind of thing. But that watching the scene where they're strapping themselves to those pipes and they're just floating in the air. And I'm like, I love this movie, but the CGI and some of the weird things they do just might be a little over the top.
It's great, but that just
It is great.
epitomizes your guys' whole podcast, right? Like it's a podcast to just talk about whatever we want to talk about. We have a topic, but if we get off topic, it's okay. Like we just let the conversation flow. You guys, have great relationship with each other. You have great relationship with your fan base. I appreciate, again, just cannot tell you enough how much I appreciate, being able to come on, talk to you guys, get to know you more, Gunner, having a second interaction here, and always interacting
calling
with
each other the wrong names.
Colton, yeah, whatever. Like, but that's like those are the things we remember. There's things that help to build this, and everyone that's listening, what's also great is you guys aren't, like you're so accepting of anybody. Like anybody come on here and talk about this stuff. It's not like it's low risk kind of stuff. Just come in and just talk about what you think, and then you guys are accepting of it, and it's just awesome. So just appreciate that, and you guys are doing great things, and I'm glad I can be a part of it, a participant, and definitely a fan, and promote this for everybody that I know.
Nice. Thanks. We're here whenever you need us or whenever you want to come on.
So how would people maybe get a hold of you?
Well, there are plenty of ways you can get a hold of us. And first of all, I just want to thank you all for listening to the Call Guys podcast. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, literally anywhere that you get your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. You can search for the Call Guys podcast. We do post a YouTube video every single Monday when we post our episode on all of your favorite podcasting sites. You can also find us on all of your favorite social media accounts, whether that be Facebook at facebook.com/thecallguyspod, Instagram at the Call Guys, or TikTok at the Call Guys podcast. And we also do have a link tree. So if you are on Spotify and you want to go check out our YouTube, you can go to our link tree account, which is linked on our Spotify. You can click on that and go straight to our YouTube account. You don't have to go through and search for the Call Guys podcast on YouTube. And most of all, we talk about the email all the time. I think if I could tally how many times we talk about the email in an episode, it'd probably be more than I can count on my hands. But yes, you can always send us an email if you want to tell us your favorite movies. You want to talk about your 80s, 90s, 2000s movies. You want to send us your top 5 sports films. We did that episode 20 episodes ago. If you want to tell us those, send us an email and let us know, and we will get back with you and or read it on the podcast. But I just want to thank everybody out there for listening. If you want to send those emails, thecallguyspodcast@gmail.com. And you can also check out the merch store, which has not changed yet. I know I mentioned that 10 episodes ago, but it is still the callguyspodcaststore.com. You can go check that out. T-shirts, whatever you want to buy on there, go check it out. We appreciate it. And then you can check out any other podcasts under the Golden Mojo Entertainment Network of podcasts, whether that be Golden Image Podcast at facebook.com/Golden Image Podcast, the Indiana Chiefs Fans Podcast at facebook.com/IN Chiefs Fans Pod, the Murdnerds at facebook.com/Murdnerds, or the United States Paranormal at facebook.com/the United States of Paranormal. How was that?
You killed it, brother. You killed it.
Yeah, change it up. I didn't want to take it down too much like the Skywalker likes, but sometimes you just gotta change it up a little bit. Yeah.
Hey, Indiana Chiefs fans, suck it.
That's right. That's right. That's very mean. I'm a part of that podcast.
Yep. Go Lions.
Go Lions. Raider Nation.
Go
What did
Lions.
Jared say in Beer 30? Something about the Broncos. I don't remember what
Broncos
he
Let's
country,
ride.
let's ride.
Yeah, let's
Broncos
ride.
country,
Yeah.
let ride. I'm just saying the Lions beat the Bears. That's all I'm saying.
said. I see. Is that divisional?
That's okay. That's okay. We need to suck this year. We want a good draft pick.
Oh, let's not get into football. Let's not get into football tonight.
Save that for the Indiana Chiefs podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
Still waiting for my invite back, Emperor.
Oh, hey, I'm sure you're welcome more than anytime, Colton. Anytime.
Peace
And
out.
Snake, you are welcome back on the call, guys, anytime. Books to movies, whether you want to talk about something, just let us know. And maybe here, I don't know, 10, 15 episodes down the road, we'll do a 2010s episode. So, I mean, we obviously we should, just didn't need to be a part of this trilogy. So let's do that soon.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you guys want to add? All right. Well, everybody, thank you for listening to the Call Guys podcast. We'll see you next time.
Later.
Bye. Hold me closer, tiny dancer. I've been wanting to sing that this whole
Tony
time.
Danza. I'm telling you, I heard Tony Danza, the Tony Danza version one time, and I was done. Hold me closer, Tony Danza.